So, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Good to be with you all. Hi to Manisco, hi to Renyard, hi to Vitali. So, next stream is going to be on Friday, which is the 26th of December at 1 p.m. UK time. So, let's go for it. Yes. Okay, this was an article about, hi Yuri, about playing music to animals and calming down animals with music. So here we go. Few studies have been conducted on the calming effects of music on cats. However, one study found an correlation, correspondence, analogy, reciprocity. Hi Mauri, it's lovely to see you. Hi there, Julia. Yuri goes for correlation. Correlation says Vitali as well. Correlation for Renyard, correlation for Maurits. So, let's look at these. Reciprocity. I give you something, you give me something back. Hi Marco, lovely to see you. An analogy. An analogy is two things that are similar. Correlation, says Julia. A correspondence. Poof, no, correspondence is two people writing to each other. Correspondence. They correspond to each other. Not well. Okay, correlation, very definitely. Okay, a correlation, they're correlated, they are linked. So I found a link between them. Okay, and researchers, whoops, that's a bit too long. Researchers put headphones on 12 cats while they were under sedation for neutering, castrating, spaying, caponizing, and played 3 types of sounds in succession. Natalie Imbruglia's Torn, Barber's Adagio for strings, and AC/DC's Thunderstruck. Maurits goes for neutering. This is actually quite an interesting one. Spaying, i.e. for female cats. Let's see what some of the others say. So that's spaying is definitely for female cats to spay. Neutering, insulation, neutering, says Renyard. Insulation is not going to work. Insulation, I'm sure that's been changed from something else. Okay, let's look at these for a second. Caponizing is chickens, is a rooster. Yeah, is to neuter a rooster is to caponize. A capon is a rooster, a chicken, and they get very big. Spaying is for females. Neutering, says Oksana. Hi Oksana. Castrating for males. It's got to be neutering, hasn't it? Because neutering is both male and female. Neuter a rooster, absolutely. Whereas normally with cats, either castrating or spaying, depending if it's male or female, but neutering's the general word. Okay. And the classical music choice resulted in the slowest breathing rate, the lowest heart rate, and the largest pupil dilation. All 3 signals, indexes, indicators, guides of a calming effect. Indicator, says Vitaly. Indicator, says Oksana. Indicator, says Keyword. Hi, Keyword. Lovely to see you. Indicator, says Yuri. Indicator, says Maulit. Indicator, says Renyard. Indicator, says Julia. That looks pretty good to me. Okay. Indicator, says Manisco. Indicator, says Marco. Reciprocity, quid pro quo. That's a good one for reciprocity earlier. Let's see. Yes, definitely. A signal. A signal is something that conveys information. So he gave me the signal to start. An index is normally a mathematical number that tells you how intense something is. The ultraviolet index, how much ultraviolet there is compared to normally. An indicator, yes, definitely. A guide. A guide, no. All three guides of a calming effect. I guess guides might fit, but indicators is much, much, much better. And okay, I think the next one's pretty easy. Classical music isn't the only genus, genre, species, breed, make, strain that can soothe pets. Genre for Vitaly, genre for Maurits, genre for Yuri, genre for Julia, genre for Oksana, genre for Manisco, genre for Renya, genre for Marco. Okay, a genre is like a type. Let's see, a genus, this is talking about different species, different types of animal, or different types of plants. Species, different types. A breed. Woof. Let's see. Species, elephants or rhinoceroses. Genus, maybe Indian elephants or African elephants. Breed, a type of dog or cat, so a Dalmatian. A make of car, a make of machine. A strain, normally a strain of a bacteria or a virus. Yeah, there's a new strain of COVID going around. But genre, types of music, types of film. So you have genres for films, the horror genre, or a military genre, or different types of music. Manu, lovely to see you. And VK, great to see you as well, VK. Good. This is starting to warm up a bit. That's good. So a genre. Reggae and soft rock with simple rhythms, slower tempos and no heavy percussion have also been shown to relax dogs in lodges, asylums, havens, shelters, sheds. So shelters for Vitaly, shelters for Yuri, shelters for Maurits. May your days be merry and bright and all your Christmases be white. Thank you, Manu. Shelters for Oksana, shelters for Renyard, shelters for Julia, shelters for Manu as well. A lodge. A lodge is somewhere where you go and stay. Maybe in when you go hunting, a hunting lodge. No, a lodge is like a building, maybe in the mountains, or maybe even a hotel. An asylum for crazy people, or an asylum is a safe place. Shelter, says VK. A haven, a tax haven. Haven is like heaven. A haven is a safe place. This harbour could be a haven during the storm. Dog shelters, exactly, where stray and abandoned animals go. Shelter is somewhere that you are safe. Yeah, have been shown to relax. And a shed. A shed is just a building in your garden, or Okay, is a rough building, so a shelter. Bandit's heaven. Bandit's heaven. Could you be love? The pound is the same as a shelter. Yes, I in this case, yes, Yuri. Although the pound is an American word, I think the shelter is much more British. Yeah, definitely. The dog pound, very definitely the dog pound, but the car pound as well. I think the pound is also generally belongs to the state. Whereas the shelter might be an independent organisation. Japanese yen is a safe haven during economic crises. I'm not sure that's true anymore, unfortunately. 29. Okay, that fits better now. And talking of safe havens for your money, they say gold is at an all-time high. The verb is to impound. Yes, to impound your car. Okay, so others, another study that observed 35 cats in a hospital found that instrumental music, it also lowered their respiratory rate as long as it didn't have very high or low frequencies. Think piano, flute and string. So Maurit says another, Julia for another, Vitali for another, Keyword says another, Manisco says another. Don't tell me you're going to give a spliff to a dog, my gosh. Another to Oksana. Smash the like, says Julia. Another study, one more. And that's the idea. Another is one more study, but not the other or the other study. If there were only two studies, one and the other. But here, another study. Good, Renyard. Gold and silver have been a safe haven for wealth for thousands of years. Another, says VK. I was amazed to see silver at something like a pound a gram. It was £3 an ounce when I was a dealer. Another, says VK. Very good. So it's another, definitely. And audiobooks might sound like they'd calm pets, especially with a soothing voice narrator. But the theory doesn't hold in, down, up, on, to, onto in practice. So Vitali says hold up. Yuri says hold up. Maurit says hold up. Oksana says hold up. Julia says hold up. Keyword says doesn't hold up. Hold water, definitely, Vitali. Hold up, says Renyard. Hold true, that's another good one, Vitali. So doesn't hold in, no. Hold down. Hold him down while I hit him. Hold on to, don't throw it away, hold on to that. To hold to, I'm going to hold you to that promise that you made. Hold on, don't let go, but hold up, continue to be valid. Here is called the Bob Marley hair rafts as ponytails. Hold up. So something holds up, it continues to be valid. Yeah, this theory doesn't hold up, it doesn't hold true. Okay, so the theory doesn't hold up in practice. Woof, this one's too big. Why would a soothing voice narrator calm pets? It calms me, I'll tell you. Okay. Whoa. A study Wells co-authored in 2022 which observed the reactions of 60 dogs to either classical music or audio books, while their owners were shortly, briefly, a while, hastily absent, found that audio books had little to no calming effect. So, briefly for Vitali, briefly for Oksana, briefly for Maurit, briefly for Julia, briefly for Yuri. Soothing voice narrator. There are some narrators with voices that are much better than others. Briefly, says Manu. Shortly normally means soon. I'll be with you shortly. I'll be with you soon. Briefly for Renyard. He will arrive shortly. Shortly is soon. So VK says briefly. A while. Were absent for a while, or were absent a while. A while needs to go afterwards. And hastily. Hastily is rapidly. Briefly. A short time. He was briefly absent. They were absent a while, or absent for a while as well. Hi Starry, briefly. Somebody's been at the Wacky Backy this morning. Okay, good to see you, Starry. Rather than sit or lie down. Whoops. That's better. Rather than sit or lie down, as they did while listening to music, most would just glare, stare, gawk, gape, ogle, eye, scrutinise, glower, scowl at the speaker, emitting the audiobook recording. Glare, says keyword. You have a coffee, yes. Stare, says Oksana. Stare, says Julia. Stare, says Renyard. Ogle. Okay, to ogle is to look at somebody with lust. The boys were ogling the girls. Gawk. To gawk at something is pretty stupid. Yeah, it's a stupid look. Stare, says Manu. Scowl. Scowl is a very angry look. Stare, says VK. Stare at, says Starry. I think just okay. I think a lot of them would work. Let's see. Ogle at. Ogle the speaker. Ogle without at. I without at. Scrutinise, to inspect, but not at. So yes, glare at, stare at, gawk at, gape at, glower at, scowl at. With your eyes full of ogle. I think yes, but remember, they're just looking at a speaker. So I think it's just simple. I don't think there's any emotion. Yeah. Yeah, that will do very nicely, Mauritz. He was the boys were ogling the girls, definitely. To glare is angry. To stare is just to gawk with your mouth open. To gape with your mouth open as well. To ogle, to look at sexually. To eye, yes, but without at. You gape with your mouth open, yes. You gawk probably with your mouth open as well. To scrutinise is to inspect. To glower is to look at angrily, and to scowl is to look at angrily. Yes, so stare, not spare, very definitely. So yes, I think glare would work, stare would work, gawk would work, gape would work, glower would work, and scowl. But clearly it's stare. Because I think the animal doesn't know what's happening. It can hear a person, but it doesn't know where this person is coming from. The sound comes from the loudspeaker. And even though numerous studies focus to, point at the calming power of classical music, that doesn't mean it will work on every dog, cat or elephant. Gawk is dopey. Glower is angry or sullen. Keyword says point to. Yuri says point to. Oksana says point at. Maudit says point to. The car lights dazzled. The car lights let me glare for a moment. Absolutely dazzled. Point to, says Vitali. Point to, says Julia. Point to, says Manu. Point at, says Starry. Okay, clearly you've understood it's not focus. But it's focus on. Yeah? Focus on the calming power. Not focus at, not focus to. Point to, says Rainyard. Point at, says VK. Okay, I think both point to and point at would work. But I think point at is much more physical. It's over there. Whereas point to, it gives the idea of suggest. It doesn't say directly. It points to it. Point at directly. Point to in the direction of. And that's why point to, because here point to, I think it's being used with the meaning of suggest. So the fact that he is late points to a problem. Okay, it indicates, to give an idea of. Hint at definitely. Let's see, point at, you can see the finger, you can see the object. A road sign in the middle of the countryside points to the town that you want to go to. Whereas the guide pointed at your the building. So point at, look, it's there. See, you can see it over there. But point to is giving you the general direction. The general direction of something, and you can't see the thing that it's pointing to generally, whereas you can see the thing it's pointing at. I think here you could use both, but point to is much better. Point at is a very, very obvious evidence. Is very obvious evidence, where point to, it's just the evidence, it doesn't give it 100%, but it helps. So point to. Whoops. All the hints point there. You see, I think all the hints point to the crime being done with a sharp knife. Infer. The studies were mostly small in scale and short in duration, and mainly focus on shelter or hospital setting, which are specially, importantly, notably, incomparably stressful environments. Well done Maurizio, and well done Vitali. Especially with an E, yes, especially, very, very. Whereas especially with S, they're designed to be stressful. I made it specially sweet because I know you like it sweet. So Vitali said notably, Yuri said notably, Keyword says notably, Manu said notably. Okay, so Julia's got especially as well. Notable for Renyard. So notice this, especially, very, extremely, specially made that way, made because it's special for you. Remarkably stressful, yes, definitely Renyard. Notably for Renyard, notably for Marco. Hey, point 2 and point 2. Yeah, point two is better than point out. No problems, Maurizio. You see the problems I have. Specially designed, very good keyword. Notably, says Oksana. Notably, Vandana, lovely to see you. Notably, says Julia. Particularly, especially starry. Especially. Very. Okay. Another spanner in the research is the number of subcategories within classical or instrumental music and how that variation could, remarkably, significantly, awfully, terribly, impact the music's effect. So, hi Victoria, lovely to see you. So significantly for Vitali, significantly for Maurizio, significantly for Keyword, significantly for Oksana, significantly for Yuri, significantly for Manu. Good to have you, Victoria. Significantly for Julia. So awfully affect. Spanner, this keyword, this is from the phrase a spanner in the works. A spanner in the works is a problem. It's a difficulty. Something that stops something from working properly. It's like throwing your sabot, your clogs into the machine. Yes, for mechanic. It's a wrench. Yes, spanner is the British word for wrench. Well, I would say a spanner in the works. Okay. Could impact remarkably, no, significantly, awfully, terribly. A problem. It's a metaphor, yes. A spanner in the works. Another problem within all of this. Okay, so could significantly impact. A spanner in the works. A spanner in the works. A spoke in your wheel. When sound... So, let me get this right. When sound behaviourist throw a spanner in the works, throw a monkey wrench in the works. When sound behaviourist and composer Janet Marlowe viewed, observed, surveyed, beheld this with her own pets, she began creating music to calm them, and eventually many others. So, observed for Vitali, observed for Maurizio, observed for Yuri, observed for Keyword, observed for Manu, observed for Julia, observed for Oksana. Observed, spotted would also fit, says Renyard. viewed this. To view is you're looking at something, you're looking at it over time. You make an observation, you see something, you notice something. You survey a building or a piece of land. Beheld, behold, to see. Yes, observed this, understood this, saw this. Whoops. Let me take that back. And let's try again. Control F3. I'm not doing very well, am I? You view something, you see it. Okay. That's finally right. Monkey wrench, a large mouth wrench that is an adjustable tool to make things bigger. Last one, and I've got to go for a second. I'll be back in 1 minute. And this is the last one for today, ladies and gentlemen. Spot would be on the informal side for an academic article. I quite agree. So let's see. I began composing and testing music specifically tailored to the audible, auditory, hearing, listening biology of dogs, cats, horses and other species, she says. So let's see. Auditory for Vitali, a word behaviourist. Auditory for keyword, auditory for Maurice, auditory for Oksana, auditory for Julia. Auditorium is the place. Auditory, the auditory biology. Audible is something you can hear. Hearing capabilities, tailored to the hearing capabilities. That's good. The auditory biology says Starry, auditory for Renyard. So Smash the Like says, is well-known auditory. No, an auditory is an adjective, Manu. Auditorium is a noun and a place. Hi, Abdirrahman from Djibouti. So that my pleasure keyword. Auditorium is a hall, a group of people listening to a speaker. Oh, so there were 100 people in the auditorium. The auditorium is a place where people hear music, a place where you can hear something. Audible is able to hear. Auditory, of hearing. So your ears are your auditory organs. So auditory. Okay, so enough for today. Have a great weekend. I will see you next stream is on Friday. Is on Friday 26th of December at 1 p.m. So no class on Thursday 25th. Yes. So it's wonderful to have you. Merry Christmas to all of you. Happy Christmas Eve. My song, my Christmas carol will be out tomorrow. Will be ready tomorrow evening, I hope. So thank you to Abdirahman, thank you to Julia, thank you to Keyword, thank you to Maurit, thank you to Manisco and Manu, thank you to Marco and Oksana and Renyard and Starry, thank you to Julie and Julia, and thank you to Yuri and Vitali, and thank you to Amino as well, and thank you to Victoria. Whoops. So it's lovely to see you all. Take care of you all of you. Merry Christmas. Yeah, happy Christmas. Enjoy all of you, and look out for the Christmas, my Christmas carol, which will be ready tomorrow, which should be ready tomorrow evening at some point. So take care all of you, and bye for now.